Anthea Morphetis, and we're back. We're back for season 2, Michael.
Yeah, we're
Woo!
back, guys. So, as I said, we stepped away a little bit just to polish the platform, to give you guys the content you deserve, the titles, the topics, even the branding that you deserve. So, I'm gonna let Anthea take a little bit of the floor because I know you guys want to hear from her because you haven't heard from her in a while. So, I'll let her take the floor and talk about what's been going on with her and things like that. So the floor is all yours.
Hey, thank you very much, Michael. Yeah, it's actually a pleasure to be back on. We've taken some time out. Michael's been working really hard in the background, getting things sorted. And he's come on and done a few lives himself. But it's been so exciting, completing season 1 and now into season 2. We've got some great subjects to talk about and really, really, really exciting. I've joined forces other places as well, where I've had new podcasts come along. So I'm doing the Mental Health Warriors podcast too. And obviously I'm with the Law of Attraction group. So yeah, I've got a few things going on. And this is one of the ones that I love and look forward to. So we're here, and I just want to say also, I was just saying with Michael just beforehand, what this podcast has done for me in general as well. It's actually been an eye-opener and life-changing for me in the sense of, until you really get talking about relationships like consistently, there's a lot of us just don't really take that much time out to think about them. Although I've been a person who has thought about them and I've grown so much through relationships. Actually doing the podcast has been amazing because it's made a massive difference to the way I see things, the way like Michael's taught me so much while we've been having these conversations live with you guys, and it's so nice to be tuned into something that is such a big part of our lives at the end of the day. And if we can turn up in our relationships, loving ourselves first and being the best version of ourselves, healed, without carrying baggage with us, I think it's one of the best places to start off in a relationship. Start off by loving you and filling your cup up and then spilling that out to another. And I think this is what it's all about this season, this self-love. Because without the self-love, if you can't love yourself, who else can you actually love? And I really stand by that, because we really should be loving on ourselves before we step into relationships. And I've definitely learned this, and I'm definitely implementing this in my life. So yes, Michael.
I love that she said that, guys, because like those hallelujah moments that you hear her have, like when me and her talk, and you hear like something just kind of like clicks for her. Those are like real time things, man. Like those are like real time stuff. And like even when she tells me things, it clicks for me. So that's why I'm telling you guys that's why we do what we do. So I'm actually gonna show you guys some of our social media so you guys can follow us on some of our platforms. Because again, a lot of people ask me, well, where can I follow you guys? Where can I see what you guys do? So again, you can come on Instagram, you type love and relationships right there. We are right there. So again, we're trying to grow this channel. We're trying to, make it better. Um, you know, it's small, but we know that we're going to build it big. You could look at some of the polls that we've ran in the past. We're actually going to get back to doing that. And you could also see some of our short clips as well, which I have an announcement at the very end of this podcast regarding our short clips. But you'll be able to see short clips of different things that we've done on Instagram. Um, so again, that's been one of our bread and butters, and it's going to be. And then the next thing that I am going to share with you guys very quickly is another platform that we're also on, which you guys also watch us on, which is fantastic, is YouTube. So a lot of people ask me, well, where can I find you guys on YouTube? So again, if you go to YouTube and you come here and you type in.
You can't see the screen, by the way, Michael.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for doing that. So you come on YouTube and you type in love and relationships, conversation. Sorry, because we have so many handles. So many handles. And usually we pop up right on YouTube. So usually you'll see us here. And this is one of our other platforms, which you guys are watching us on now. So our YouTube channel is literally right here. So we're literally trying to grow in the algorithm, guys. So you guys liking, sharing, supporting our stuff helps us grow in the algorithm, which we're really looking forward to doing as well. So we really hope that you guys actually please like, share, subscribe, all those type of lovely things.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We really do appreciate
And we
it.
appreciate it so much. You know what I mean? Because it helps us grow on our channel. So any type of support that you can give us would be greatly appreciated. So with that being said, we're actually going to jump into today's topic actually. And we're going to talk about submission. Now I know that we've covered it before, but we are going to actually cover it from a woman's point of view. Not just Anthea's point of view. Obviously, she's going to give like her feedback and things that we discuss. But we're actually going to talk about it from a woman's point of view because I know it's such a touchy subject for a lot of people. They look at submission as a form of control. They look at submission as a form of manipulation, but it's actually not any of those things. So that's why what we're going to do is we're going to play the video. We're going to have some commentary, not a lot. We're going to have some commentary, and then we're going to break down the video after. So I'm going to play the video, and then when we want to commentate, you know what I mean? I'll pause the video, and then we'll discuss some things. So hopefully you guys are ready to go. Hopefully you guys are ready to hear this, and we'll discuss it.
You're muted.
Yeah, I have to. Like when we play the video, totally got to mute myself just so we don't get the echo. But I'll be able to unmute myself and you'll be able to hear me once I unmute myself.
And I clicked on the comments. I'm always clicking on the comments. And people women in the comments are like, submit? What? I ain't never submitting to no man and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, dang, y'all just get it so wrong. Black women have it so wrong.
The dreaded S word. And the reason I call it the dreaded S word, because I know a lot of sisters, when they even hear the word submit, they automatically shut down. They don't want to hear anything about submitting to a man.
There's a lot of faces that happen, like when we're in church and we hear this reading from Ephesians chapter 5, and it's like, be subject to one another out of reverence for Christ. That's good. And then it's like, wives, be subject to your husbands as to the Lord. And the women's faces are either like, or they're like the stink face, like.
I know a lot of people are triggered by that concept of gender roles or submission or dominance, but I think we just take it way too far and you're not seeing the utility of it.
A lot of times the word submission, the word being submissive got so damaged by people thinking that it's like bow down to your man or like rub your man's feet, kiss his toes, like it's not like that.
And that is understandable because a lot of times when we think about submitting, we think about that Bible verse, slaves submit to your earthly masters. So we associate the word submit to slavery, but that is a completely imbalanced definition of the word submit.
What does the word submit even mean? So if you Google this word, it actually says for submission, submission is the action or fact of accepting or yielding.
Okay, so as you can see, it's a trigger word for a lot of people. Because they look at it as a form of control. They look at it as a form of manipulation. What you as a woman, Anthea, how did the word make you feel before? And how does the word make you feel now?
It's interesting, Michael, because I never really thought about it before until we actually done a subject on it. We spoke about it. So if somebody had said submission to me before, it would come up as a bad thing, as in it's like a form of control, and that's how the same for me too. But my understanding has changed now, and I see it as like you've got a captain of a ship as such, and so there's only one captain, so there has to be a leader in each role that you play. So whether it's in business relationships or it's in romantic relationships, I think when you're submissive, it's just been able to allow one of the persons to become a leader within that relationship, is my understanding now. And in that understanding, I agree with that, because I don't believe, like, in a relationship, I know we've spoken a lot before about, or we've covered the 50-50 subject. And I just believe that there's got to be somebody who takes the lead, because if somebody's not taking the lead, you're kind of like, I think you end up like locking heads, because one's not following the other, and there's two people who are coming at the same thing and there's no agreement behind it. But if you can have somebody who leads the way and says, right, I don't know, our next project's going to be going to buy a house, let's say, and it takes that lead, and then you're there actually supporting that happening. So then you become the supporter or the worker as such, is how I'm seeing it, and how I feel it to be right. And then I think you've got the other side of it, Michael, where people see it as a control in a relationship, which I think that there is that side of it where you could have somebody who's applying it negatively. And if it's been applied in a negative way, then that's when I think that doesn't work, because I think the two people who are involved, the woman as such, would have to be the person who wants that in that relationship. She's already open to that and wanting to be that person. But if someone's trying to force that upon you, then that's different. So there's a healthy side of it and an unhealthy side of it, is my understanding of it and how I perceive it to be. So yeah.
I love that you brought that up, because again, we brought it up in a video previously. Submission should be inspired.
Yes. Something you want to
It
do.
shouldn't be forced. It shouldn't be pushed. It should be inspired. So with that being said, your partner or your woman will be inspired to submit to you by who you are. That's what I truly believe in. By who you are. You're not coming in there like, hey, submit to me, rub my feet, rub my toes. No. She's inspired by who you are as a man and as a person, and masculine energy. And then because of that, she wants to submit.
And then the man wants to love on the woman, wants to be the affection
Provider.
and the ears, yeah, and the provider. And I think if the man wants that and is playing that role, and the woman is, like you said, inspired by his ways, about who he is, about how his mind works, about how he takes action forward and what he's creating in his life, and you're there, and let me just say myself, I'm there as a woman, and I'm watching my man stand and be strong and do the things that he feels good to do. And he wants to provide, and he has that love and affection towards me, then I'm going to naturally want to be around him, and I'm going to naturally want to do as he says, but not as he says as in like he says to me, oh, you do this, because that's a negative way of seeing it. And I think it's always about looking at the positive and how that makes you feel, because if you're in that type of relationship and you don't feel good and you don't like it and you have no respect for your man, then it's not going to work. But if you're in a positive, uplifting relationship where you both have that respect for each other and you understand one another and you're walking forward with one another, as a woman, I want to follow my man. I want him to be the leader. And I think that's what it comes down to, because I'm getting what I want out the relationship, the love, the affection side, because that's what we want as women. We love all of that side of it, and we're getting provided for. And I'm not saying a woman can't go out and be her own provider within that relationship, because you can. It's up to you if you go out, but there would be a lot of communication between you and your man to what's happening in that day, or what's happening next, or what's going on business wise, and you kind of follow that lead, right? That's how I see it anyway.
I agree, and I'm really glad that you brought that up. And yeah, we'll definitely continue the video, so you guys keep watching, and hopefully you take something away from it.
To a superior force or to the will or authority of another person.
This is the definition you can find in the dictionary. And in this highlight compilation, some of the ladies speak about submission from a religious perspective. Let's roll.
So submitting is an action. You can't do it without choosing, so you have to make a choice. And note that the Bible does, when it's talking about submission, it's directed towards the wives. So this is super crucial because it's not in the husband section, and the husband has a section of Ephesians. It's not telling them, make your wives submit. It is directed to the wives that we should submit to our husbands.
Like I've said before, never try to convince a woman to submit to you. Matter of fact, never try to convince a woman to do anything. Look at the housewife video we've made. These women want to be housewives. Nobody forces them to make sandwiches. Deal with the ones that are down for the cause. You can't make a 304 a housewife.
So it is postured in a way where it's a choice, but it's knowing that we should be honoring our husbands in that way by submitting to them. And by doing so, we are honoring God because God gave headship to our husbands.
Translations use the word subordinate. Some use submission, like wives submit to your husbands. And what's interesting about the word submit or submission, it means to be under the mission. So wives, be under the mission of your husband. And then it says, husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. The mission of a husband is to lay his life down for his wife, to love her as Christ loved the church. How did Christ love the church? He laid his life down. He sacrificed his life so that we might live.
The best types of relationships are going to be ones with the shared values. So let's assume that the shared values in this situation are ones where the woman is feminine and the man is more masculine. And in that dynamic, it's going to be really important for there to be a leader.
Okay, I think we need to talk about this. That was there were some juicy things said there. So you see what she's saying, where she said the word sub in mission, right? So she broke it down and saying there needs to be a mission for a woman to submit to.
I love that.
If there's no mission, she won't submit.
There's nothing to submit to because we're listening.
There's
there's nothing, because we're seeing it as a man's doing his role, so you're submitting to that. But if he's just there and lying on the sofa doing nothing, there's no mission behind him. There isn't nothing to follow. There's nothing to. He's not leading in any way. So where does that leave you?
You're not inspired by any way to want to do those things. But you see, like when she explained it, she said that that it's about a husband, or this applies to relationships too, is about that person putting his life on the line for you so you can live.
Yeah, it's deep.
It's deep,
right? Yeah.
It's and again, like that's why we say these things. We know it's really uncomfortable to hear, but it's those uncomfortable conversations that will get you the relationship that you want, because it's just like, again, and we're going to ask Anthea this, men don't want masculine women, and there's certain traits that are very masculine that turn men off, and women don't want men that are very passive.
They don't.
So, you know, we can't get offended because a lot of the times, and again, I'm not going to hate here, but you know what, I am for today. A lot of times it's more narrated towards what the woman wants and less about what the man wants. So a woman will say, well, I want a man to give me security. He's got to be tall. He's got to have money. He's got to have this, and this. But as soon as a man says, well, hey, like, I don't want a masculine chick. I don't want this, and this. Oh, you're controlling, you're manipulative, you're this, and that. Both parties, what they want should matter.
Yeah, totally agreed, Michael.
Both parties. I'm going to say that again. What both parties want should matter. You cannot degrade one party or the other or shame them for wanting what they want. A woman cannot shame a man for wanting a woman that, is not promiscuous, very masculine. You can't shame him for that. But at the same time, we can't shame women for what they want either. So there has to be that mutual respect.
Yeah, I completely
Because for
agree.
me, I don't like it when people shame people for what they want, saying, "Oh, well, you're being controlling and manipulative." No, like, go
But I was
ahead.
going to say, then those two people are not compatible, because at the end of the day, compatibility will mean that the woman doesn't see it like that and the man doesn't see it like that. They would see it from the point of view that they have, and they're compatible in their values, in their vision together. So I think if you come across somebody who's trying to belittle you for what you want, then that's not the right person for you.
But let's talk about the negative side. It keeps you single.
Yeah.
When you have an attitude like that,
Well,
it
yeah.
keeps you single. So we're going to continue to play the video and break down more of these points. And again, it's fair use. Thank you very much for the Manosphere Highlights Daily for putting this video out there. We're definitely going to give him his roses because he allows us to review content like this. So thank you very much. And we're going to continue the video.
Someone who, not necessarily to be an overbearing, dominant leader, but someone to take the leadership position as the captain, and then the other person to be the co-captain.
There can only be one captain to one ship. However, I understand what she's trying to say.
Think about any business, relationship, job, whatever you have it, there is a leader. So they get to make the final say. If everyone is not in unison, there always needs to be one person calling the shots. So marriage is no different. You still need leadership. You still need your roles, and roles are really helpful because they can help you know what to do to be effective and just running way smoother.
So in this case, the female is going to be bringing all of those feminine characteristics, and in her role, it's going to be more submissive as the co-captain, and the man is going to have more of the deference. So that's the word that I like to use because to me, it communicates respect. So the woman is going to be respecting ultimately that man's role as the captain. And even if she disagrees, that's fine. You can say, give your input, just like a co-captain would, but ultimately the captain makes the last call.
You see, that's why there's only one captain. And women do this all the time. They go to work and follow instructions all the time. They understand what leadership means. But when it comes to the man, submission becomes an issue. And one of the biggest reasons why is because you don't have authority. What happens if she doesn't listen? At work, she'll get fired. But at home, what are you going to do about it?
We have to get into that mindset that we can step back and allow a man to be a man, allow a man to lead. And that is basically what submission is.
So husbands, that's the mission of a husband, is to lay his life down. It doesn't say in there, husbands, your mission is to treat your wives like an object, to treat her like property, to be a domineering man, to be prideful, no. It's saying to love her as Christ loved her, with tenderness, with beauty, with gentleness, to lay your life down, to sacrifice your pride. And women, that's the kind of mission I want to be, that's the kind of mission I will be like, heck yes, I support that mission. I'm gonna be under that mission.
And that is not how you submit in a relationship. You don't submit to a man that tries to silence you. You don't submit to a man that tries to make you feel inferior. You don't submit to a man that tries to make you feel like you're beneath him or inadequate in any way. You submit to a man because he uplifts you, because he elevates you, because he honors you. You submit to a man because he does whatever he has to do to make sure your needs are provided for. You submit to a man because he is literally willing to put himself in harm's way and lay his life on the line if need be as your protector.
Right, somebody has to make the last call. Even me, when I'm on TV and I do the news, there's a director and a producer, and when something goes wrong or whatever, someone has to make the call, and there's a particular hierarchy so that it's not just chaos and nothing gets decided and then it's a mess. So life gets messy. So if you're in a household, in a partnership, because it's hard being in a partnership. That's why some people do opt to stay alone, because it's a lot simpler.
And that is what we are doing about it. We walk. We go somewhere where there's actually benefits to this dynamic. Finding a submissive woman in Western society is like finding a needle in a haystack. And if you find her, you still have to deal with her in Western society. Good luck.
Whatever the decision is, you know you're making it. But when you're in a partnership and with family and kids, it gets a lot more complicated the more people are involved. So that's why this type of system is a lot healthier for everybody, and it benefits everybody.
So don't trump your husband's authority and leadership. Don't be afraid to voice your opinion. Wives should not be doormats by any means. Your husband should be respecting you and listening to you and really valuing your opinion. And I'm sure he does if he's married to you, values who you are and your beliefs and everything. But it's when you can't come to unity, someone has to make that final say. And God has given the headship to your husband.
And when you submit to him, that still doesn't make you his slave. What you're doing is basically pouring into him or providing him with things that he needs in order to make sure you have what you need.
I wonder where this slavery in the house or relationship foolishness came from. In this world, you'll have to work. Human beings always worked. We figured out real quick that working together works better. So why the fuck do you want to be in a relationship for, if doing the things that actually benefit your relationship is seen as slavery?
You're not being, distrusting, and you're not assuming that someone is trying to hurt you or mess things up. You're assuming that they want the best for you and that they think the best of you. And so that comes with trust, that comes with intimacy, that comes with a lot of effort in really being a cohesive system together.
It's a humble strength. He's not domineering. He's not, doesn't treat me like an object to be used. He doesn't treat me like a slave. And I think that's what, when some of us hear this reading, we imagine like a slave and slave master relationship, when in reality, this relationship is more of one of reverence and love.
So if your husband is cherishing you and loving you, as God calls him to, he is going to be listening and wanting to hear your opinions on big decisions. And he is really going to be taking those to thought when he chooses what he thinks is best for you and your family. So it shouldn't be something, he should feel the weight of any decisions, especially if you guys are in unity on them, but it's not something that he should be taking lightly. It has nothing to do with your values.
And so that is what it really means to submit to a man. And no woman in the world should be in resistance to that, because that is not going to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. And when you don't do that, what you have is two assertive people in a relationship. And assertiveness is to masculine, what submissiveness is to feminine. And when you have two assertive people in a relationship, you're just going to keep bumping heads. You have two stubborn people, and neither one of them are having their needs met. And that type of relationship never lasts.
This video has officially been...
That's so interesting, right?
Okay, guys, let's talk about some of the things she said. Whew. See, as she said, a lot of them said a lot of different things, but as she said, when you're both masculine, it's very combative, right? And it's unhealthy, right? So when you have two people that are very domineering, butting heads, one person has to be in the feminine, one has to be in the masculine. And as she says, things run a lot smoother when it's like that.
Of course, because it's a partnership, isn't it? And I think it actually goes really deep, this submissive, being submissive. Like, you think of how many people see it in so many different ways, and normally a negative, like they were saying before.
Slavery.
Like slavery, and people think it's drop to your man's feet and kiss his feet and do this and do that. But hang on a sec. I mean, look, there's people in loving relationships that have got that going on, where you've got the man as the masculine and the woman being submissive, and she would rub his feet, he would kiss her feet, they would do things like that because they want to, because they have that mutual love and respect, if that's the things that they're into. But I think in general, when you're in a relationship with, as a female, to a man, and he is everything that a man we know a man to be from back in the day, let's say, from that masculine side, the one that used to go out and go and grab the food, the one that used to go and do what he needed to do, like
Hunt the
hunt the
lions.
lions and such, and the woman being there. And I'm not gonna I'm gonna say, yes, she was cooking for him, she was feeding him, she was looking after him, yes, but he's also looking after her. So there's he's looking after her and playing his role, and she's looking after him playing her role, and naturally they'll come together with a love and respect, and they will do anything for one another. And if somebody likes their feet to be kissed, then that's what's going to happen, right? And that's
But
not
you see, I love what she said though. It's not domineering, like it's you're inspired by.
yes.
You see, because a lot of times you're looking at it as he's trying to control me or he's trying to do this. It means that you don't like him that much.
Mm,
And we're gonna put that out there right damn now.
and that is the
It
truth.
means you don't like him that much because if you are not submissive or there's resistance to submission, it means you don't like him that much and you're not that inspired by who he is.
Yes, and that is the
And
truth,
men,
Michael.
that doesn't mean that you need to take it personally. It's easier for you to, like, once you see, like, if she's giving you that resistance, she's giving you like a hard time, let her go and move on. Because it shows that, like, now you're setting the tone for the relationship. Because in the back of your mind, you know that there's been guys that she's been submissive to. It's just she's not inspired by you, and you don't want to have to convince her to.
And this is the thing, isn't it? It's not having to convince one or another to stay into a relationship, because that doesn't work. If one person is out, you be the other person wanting to stay in or to be, that's not going to work either. Because if somebody's not really
Well, why would you want to
you,
beg them for submission?
well, exactly, you wouldn't. And this is what I mean. It's like, if somebody's out and they're not even realizing, they just, like Michael just said, you're not following lead, then you're not that into that person. Don't try and make yourself be into that person or convince yourself, because you're just going to come locking heads again, because you're not compatible. And I think so many people know when this happens, but yet they continue to try and be in a relationship, right, Michael?
Yeah, because you can see the resistance,
Yeah.
as he said, and as she said, submission is a good thing. It only benefits both of you. It doesn't benefit the man, it benefits both of you, because when you're submissive to your man, he is going to want to take care of you more. He's going to want to provide more. He's going to want to come home. He's not going to want to go out drinking with the boys, strip club. He's going to want to be around you. Because you see, you have a lot of men that are like, yeah, I'm going to go out drinking after work. They don't want to go home to their wives. Why do you think that
And
is?
I've heard that so many times, Michael. When I'd be out and about and you'd hear like someone's come out for a drink, she's getting away from the missus. And I used to think, I hope that I never have to live that. Like, wanting to get away from me. Like,
imagine this statement. You're married to someone and you're dating them, and you're dreading having to go home.
Yeah.
You're dreading having to deal with them. You're dreading having to be like, oh man, you know what? I would rather stay at work an extra hour than go home now. And we hear people say this in their relationships, and it's like, then clearly there's like some issues. And that's why I'm telling you is we have to look at submission as a good thing. It's not negative. But I'm actually going to add a caveat. Don't submit to just any man.
Yeah, it's got to be the right one.
It's got to be the right guy.
Yeah. And how do you know? Through love and respect.
Through exactly how they said, how he treats you, how he values your opinion. You know what I mean? As she says, he's going to not just say, well, do whatever I want you to do. No, your opinion's going to matter. He's going to ask it. You have a voice, but somebody has to make the final decision.
Yeah. And if he doesn't listen,
and that's why she said pilot and co-captain.
Yes. And if he doesn't listen to what you've got to say, and every time you go to say something, he's not hearing you, he's not listening to you, then there's a, should we say red flag? It's like, I think.
Well, I would only say it in the sense of, okay, I hear exactly what you're saying. if he doesn't listen to you, but you also have to understand, you will agree with him if you've always seen that he's always done what's best for the family.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if you know, like, let's say he's making choices and he's asking your opinion, you know that he's always going to do what's best for the family.
Yeah.
Now, let's say, for example, he's like a gambling problem and he's gambling like away your money. Then you have to ask yourself the question: you picked him. What's going on here?
Yeah.
But if you've picked like a healthy man, you'll have no problem agreeing with his decisions. Are you going to agree with all of them?
No.
No, but you know at the end of the day that whatever decision it is, he's going to do what's best for the family.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the relationship at hand, like whether there isn't a family.
Yeah, it's not
there.
going to hurt you guys.
No, that's the thing, and it's not going to hurt you. And there is, like, I think you really do get to know what an actual loving relationship is when you've been in one that is not loving and not the right relationship, right? See, I've experienced the ones that are not right for me, and through that I've understood so much. And I know, like, I think we've spoken before about, you know, being in like this, as we're saying here, the one of my relationships where he wasn't inspiring me in any way, shape, or form, and it got to a point where I just looked at him like, I don't.
You checked out.
Yeah,
you
I checked out completely because there was nothing, there was no inspiration behind it. It's like, okay, I'm running the businesses, I'm running this, and you just want to do what I'm doing, but actually, I want to follow your lead because I'm the woman here, and I naturally I didn't even know it was submission at the time, but now I've understood that that's what I was craving for, and I didn't even know that. I didn't realize until you experience it. You can't, then you come out and you can say, okay, and you feel the difference in a good, loving, healthy relationship. It feels different. No one's going to swear at you continuously. No one's going to call you names. No one's going to be rude towards you. No one's going to, like, you know,
belittle you or
belittle.
any shape or form.
Yeah, that's right. It's always going to be an upliftment. It's always going to be a level of respect. There's always going to be, when you're speaking, that you're going to be heard, not just listened to. You're going to be actually heard, and your man will be able to echo back to you what you had said, and same for you to him. If whatever he's like, if he's expressing something and you're listening and you're hearing him, then you're going to take that on board so you can work with one another of what each other want, and you'll naturally do that. And like Michael said, it's not going to always be that you agree with everything and there's never going to be no ups and downs in the relationship, because we're not saying that. We're saying it's a healthy way, and you know the difference because of how you feel about it and how you're being treated. And I think we were saying that season 2, we always want to go back to the fact it's the self-love also. This comes to that. If you're self-love, if you're in that mode of loving yourself and you're healed from within, and you turn up in a relationship as a woman, I turn up and there's a man who is willingly wanting to do everything, then I will be submissive.
Exactly. But you see, it just shows that that it's conditional, that certain needs need to be met.
Yeah. Yes.
So it just, you know what I mean? That's why I think it's very important to add that in there, add that little caveat in there. But you see, this is why, as men, and this is where I'm going to hold the men accountable, where we need to be on a mission. Let's exclude the women for like 2 minutes, and as a man, you need to be on a mission. And I wish, and again, this is where I take the L. I wish I would have taught this stuff when I was in my 20s. That you need to focus on your mission, what you want out of life, what your purpose is, your fitness, your finances, and everything else. It's not about doing it for the women. The women are the byproduct of that, but you do it for yourself. They're just the byproduct. Like, if you're on that stuff, she's the byproduct. And a lot of guys, what happens is a lot of guys end up doing all of those things, but then once they get the girl, they fall away from all that stuff. And then she starts to lose attraction for you, and then you're wondering why.
You're so right there, Michael. So right. It's so true. What happens with so many when they hit?
How she got you is how she wants you to continue to be.
Yes, yes, and
She does not want to get you, and she had this masculine man. She had this man that would did all these things, and then he got with her, and then he like
drop.
became complacent.
Yep. What a big
She'll be
turn
like,
off.
what happened to the man that I had
Yeah,
before?
what happened to the man that was there loving on me, treating me well, doing all the
Yeah.
right things, and then a few months down the line, it's complete, or let's say a couple of years down the line, whatever it is, completely changes, and that's not what you signed up for. And that, as a
He
woman,
became complacent.
yeah,
He became very complacent. The masculinity, the assertiveness went down, like all of it just like, and she's like, where did that guy go?
what happened to him?
But it's also on the reversal end because sometimes the women, the submission goes down. So that's what you guys got to understand. And like as I said, on this podcast, we are going to talk about the things that are uncomfortable, and then submission is one of the uncomfortable things. So you know what I mean? I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, Anthea.
No, I think we've covered it. I mean, I think most of it's been covered in that sense. And I think if women can just take away from this that it's not a bad thing, submission is not a bad thing. And if you are in a relationship where your man is trying to tell you what to do and is controlling you, then that's
No.
not what we're talking about. We're not talking about
No.
that. We're talking about being in a loving, healthy, respectful relationship. And when you're in that type of relationship, as women, and I know I can speak for myself here, I want to be submissive to that because he's taken the lead, because he's on a mission and I'm following that mission with him.
You're submitting
I'm
to the mission.
submitted to the
Yeah.
mission, and that's what it comes
Yeah.
down to. And that, to me, just the thought of that is a turn on in that sense. You know, it's a brilliant feeling to think of it to be like that. When my man's there, like taking care of me, doing everything, and we are coming together. And yeah, I'm the co-pilot as such.
I think there's something though that we need to add to this is women letting the man be the man.
Yes, without trying to
Because
control.
you see, there was a point that where she brought up in there where a lot of times the woman won't let the man be the man. So then if you're not letting him be the man, then he's like, what role do I really have in your life?
Right.
If like, you know, like let's say you're paying for dinner dates and then the guy's like, yo, like, why don't you protect me then? Because he's like, clearly you're not going to let me protect you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. At the same time, you have to, I'm not even going to use the word let. It should be
natural.
Thank you so much. See how we complement each other? It should be natural that you let a man do that for you. I'm not going to say the word let because now it's like you're giving him permission, which is weird.
Be open to.
Yeah, like you're open to letting him take care of you, like letting him.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I got this, blah, 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 beating your chest like no, like he's going to be like, I don't want this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because again, it's not that he doesn't want you, he doesn't want that specific thing because it's like you're not letting me lead the household. And the thing is, and I will add this extra caveat, what she's saying is when a woman doesn't submit to you, and again, I honestly hope that you guys really chime into this. What she's saying is she does not trust you to lead the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it one more time. When a woman does not submit to you, she's either A, not inspired by you, and B, she doesn't trust you to lead her.
And I fully agree with that.
So she'll entertain you for a little bit, but she's going to leave at some point because she is not inspired by you, and she does not trust you to lead her, to be that captain. She doesn't trust you to be the captain. So
and that's so true, Michael. You don't know how true that's sorry, I'm caught.
So at that point, because the thing is, when you think about it, there's been guys, and we all know this, that she's never given resistance to. Why? Because she trusted those guys to lead her. So if she's giving you resistance, it means she doesn't trust you to lead her. That's why there's that rebellion. Because let's look at it like, let's use an army, for example, right? Like a small battalion or something. There's obviously the leader of the army, the captain, the person running the show, leading all the troops. What do they call it when a person is like going and disobeying orders? Disobedient. It means that you cannot get under the banner. It means that you are resistant. And that's why they say, go. We don't need you no more. Get out of our army. Because you're fighting against the mission. And then that can cause subordination among the other troops. So that's what I'm saying. That's why they say, like, just get out. Because clearly you don't want to be here. Clearly you don't want to stay. And clearly you're resisting getting under the mission. But when you look at all the other people, they are willing to get under the mission. They're like, I'm going to follow you to the ends of the earth. So again, it's something to think about deeply. And don't get offended. Like, if she doesn't feel inspired by you or she's giving you the resistance, don't try to figure it out.
No.
She doesn't like you like that.
No.
Break up with her. Say, hey, look, this isn't going to work. Maybe she'll give you a chance and maybe you can display that. That's true. But usually, like, you can tell a lot of times, and Anthea can chime in on this with women, usually when they like a guy within a time frame, let's say within a month, or I'd say usually within within a month. Yeah, she's already decided if she wants to get under the mission or not.
Yes. 100%, Michael. 100%. Within a month.
Because she knows that with a guy she likes, and again, I'm actually going to say another gem, so I want you guys to pay attention very clearly. With a guy she likes, she is not going to give him resistance. She is going to make his life as easy as possible. Because she knows that if she makes his life difficult, he will leave.
And that,
because again, on this channel, we talk about Chads and Tyrones, right? We all know that when there was a Chad or there was a Tyrone, she made his life easy. She didn't make his life difficult. But go on, you had something to say?
I've gone completely blank. Lost it.
Sorry if I did that.
No,
she makes his life easy. She doesn't give him heartache. She's submitting fully. Like, she's like, I'm on board.
Yeah.
Within a month.
Yeah,
she's already
you're so right. That's what I was going to say. When and like we said, like we both said, or you said earlier on, if that changes, like the first month, it depends on how much you see that person. Obviously, if you've only seen them once in that month, then you won't know. But let's say a couple of months. And once you're there and you've decided that as a woman, you feel it as well. You know the difference. You're saying, "Oh my God,
it's spider sense."
Yeah, you're feeling the inspiration.
It's literally spider sense, man. Because I know women out here, they'll meet a guy within a week. They're already like, "Oh, this guy's so amazing." Blah blah blah. Within a month, man, she's already massaging his back, rubbing his toes, washing his laundry, doing his dishes, like all these things. And I'm like, whoa, like, and you could tell because she's really like she's fully submitted. But then when you watch her date other guys, there's less of those things. She's not giving a massage. It's like pulling teeth to get a massage. It's pulling teeth to like do like things. You know what I mean? When it compared to the other guy, it was already just like given right off the plate.
Yeah.
So that's so that is some like good stuff that I always tell people all the time. Like, again, women, be submissive. Guys, look for a submissive girl.
Yeah, and if they're not, when you meet them and it's not like that, then don't try. Don't try.
Don't try to force it. Don't try to push it. Just, you've gotten your answer that person is not for you. But a lot of times they'll be like, "Well, I like them so much." Yeah. Why? You're going to be in a difficult, resistant relationship
And then
with them.
with that question or with that statement, I like them so much. Break down, what is it you like? Is it just their smile? Is it, what is it? Actually break it down. What is it you like about that person? And then you can see yourself, right? And understand, because some people say, but I love him so much. And the guy is doing like the most wrong to the woman. It's like, well, what do you actually like about him? And they're looking at you like, well, yeah, so what is it?
Well, let's keep it 100. You're staying in that situation. He's driving the plane down.
Yes.
What did the girl say in the video? The guy should lift you up. He should build. The plane's going down, and you're sitting there. The plane's on fire, and you're like, I love him though.
Yeah, I don't want to let go.
Babe, this plane's on fire. This guy is leading you to crash and burn.
And you're on
Get your parachute on.
Yeah,
get your parachute on and jump out. Like, what are you doing?
Get out.
Like, I'll look at some women, they're like, oh, but I love him. And she's super submissive. But I meant like he's not treating her well. He's not treating her properly. And literally, he is the captain driving the plane this way.
Know the
and
difference.
She's all like, yeah. And she's like, I love him though. And now this plane's about to crash.
Yeah.
And you're like, why haven't you put on your parachute and jump out yet? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That's why we talk about submitting to the right.
And I think that comes down to just quickly on self-love again, because if you're loving on yourself and you're understanding yourself, then you don't need to get into that situation to start with. And if you do get into that situation, you're very quick to come out of it, and you're not going to be on that plane that's going down and needing a parachute. No. You would have got out long time before, because you've seen and understood that there's been things that have taken place. He's being disrespectful towards you. He's not listening to anything that you're saying. He puts you down. He's not inspiring you. Anything you say to him, he's not hearing you. He's looking at you and actually disheartening your dreams, your desires. Then that's not for you. The one that you're going to go for and you're going to feel good about is the one who respects you, who shows you the love, who shows you the affection, who shows you feel and the respect, because he opens the doors for you. He takes you out. He looks after you. He speaks to you with pure respect. And I think those are the things you're looking out for, right?
See, the caveat that I want to add here is I think we should definitely talk about it, and I'll save it. A lot of women don't know what a good man is.
Yeah, that's just that's
one of the because that's the thing, right? We're telling them, hey, date a man that's like this, like all the amazing qualities that you just labeled.
Yeah.
But most of them don't even know what that is because they're so used to dysfunction. Yeah. So I think, honestly, we should, maybe next week, I'll write it down, we should cover a topic of what qualities are of a good man.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, because you're right. So many women don't know, and we don't. I mean, I'm one of them.
That's the thing. They don't know. Like, they don't know. They know dysfunction.
Yeah.
They know, like, all these things. And then the next guy they date, that's like the focal point of they want the dysfunction. They want all those things, because when the good man comes in, they're baffled. They think
that he's not real, or he's just taking the mickey, or they don't believe what's being said to them. They just think it's a joke.
They're a deer in the headlights.
They're literally a deer in the headlights, Michael. Absolutely.
They're like, this guy's doing all these things for me.
Yeah.
Like, they're a deer because they're not used to that. They're used to the dysfunction. So I think that we should totally cover something where we say, hey, like, these are the qualities of a good man and blah, blah, blah. Because if you don't know the qualities, then you don't know what to look for. But at the same time, I also think on the flip side, women know what a good man is. They're just not picking them because they want the Chads and the Tyrones, and they want to be Chad chasers because those guys give them that thrill. They give them that zest without understanding that zest fades.
Big time.
And think about it. The guy that's been good to you would have been good to you continuously compared to the guy where the zest fades.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm in complete agreement with that.
And that's what I mean. Think about it. And again, I want to touch on this like very quickly before we go. You hear a lot of people that are longtime married say, what? This person is my best friend. They say they're my best. But think about it. if we were to separate that, what are the qualities of a
Best
best
friend.
friend?
Yeah. Somebody who hears you, somebody who you can turn to, somebody who's got your back, somebody who will look after you and be there when you're
Yeah.
needed.
So then,
Yeah.
wouldn't you consider those qualities husband qualities?
Yep.
I would,
Absolutely.
but then you see the women not picking the guys that are doing that level of consistency and work.
Yeah.
They're chasing after the guys that don't call them, the guys that treat them like crap, the guys that are like, oh, like whatever. They want those guys, but it's like, come on, let's be honest. If you know yourself and you're a healthy person, you're going to invite the person that's been consistent and because we have to break down what is a friend. When you add the term husband or best friend, like we have to break down like what is a friend. And then when you attach a girlfriend to that, it means you guys are exclusive. The only difference between the two is with a friend, you're not having sex with them, but with a boyfriend, girlfriend, you're having sex with them. That's the only difference.
Absolutely.
So that's why we want to try to help people like be able to invite the good things into their life and be more accepting of it. Now we understand that people have had traumas, people have had all these type of things. But at the same time, you have to get past that so you know how to invite the right things into your life.
So you can enjoy your life and you can have the best. And I think, once you've had these experiences, as long as, look, even if you still attract that type of person, once you can...
You don't have to entertain them.
Thank
That's
you.
different.
That's what I was going to say. You don't have to entertain them anymore. You might be in it for a month, let's say, or even 2 months, and then your realization...
You shouldn't be in it at all.
Well, when then your realization kicks in that 2 months, then as soon as you realize, that's the time to leave. It's not, I will try and fix it. I will try and make it better. I can make this happen. Or if I do this, then this will happen. No, that's too forceful. It's not natural, as we said earlier. Everything should run in a natural flow. You think of the river flowing. It's just about you getting onto that river and going with that ebb and flow along the way. And it's something,
not trying to change the river's direction.
Yeah, you can't change it. Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you're going to be going paddling the wrong against the current, and that's another time when you're not. It's not the right thing. It's not the right relationship for you because you're having to fight against the current, and a relationship should be ease and flow. And that's if they're not enhancing your life. Like, look, let's say I'm a woman and I'm living my life as I'm living it right now. And a man comes into my life and I've been really happy. I'm working on my businesses. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing what I love. I'm doing the podcast. And a man comes into my life. And to start with, I think, oh, this is really amazing. It's been the best thing ever. And then I start to realize that things are not what it appeared to be. Then I have a choice. And I want to say not just how it appeared to be, because I was just saying, I'm in a happy place, everything's going really well, and he comes in, and all of a sudden I have problems, or I didn't have the problems before he was there. Now, if I didn't have the problems before he was there, why am I going to have problems now you are here? That's not the right thing for me, because my man that comes to me is not going to come to me with problems. He's going to come to me with solutions, because that's what we're about, is the solutions. So if he's come to me and he's finding solutions towards things, and he's told me about his mission, and I'm with him on this mission and I'm supporting him, then yes, that's the person I can continue with. But if he hasn't made me happier than what I was before I met him, then what am I doing being with him in the first place? Or now I had that realization. That's how you know to not be there and get out. It's like, it's so sad how many of us women just stay in these relationships because we feel lonely, because we think we love them. No, it's not that. A man who loves you and you love them and you have a pure respect for, like Michael just said, best friends. You're best friends. You're not going to be bringing problems to one another. You're going to have a problem, but you're going to have the solution together.
See, I love what you said though about the boat thing, because I don't know if you guys have ever been canoeing. When you have like people in a canoe, you can't have one person paddling this way and another person paddling this way. Like the boat's going like nowhere.
Yeah, literally nowhere.
And you guys have to be able to paddle in sync to move forward.
Yes.
Now, are there going to be moments when you're not going to paddle in sync?
Yes.
100%. But that's when you need to stop and say, hey, how can we get on the same page so we can paddle together?
And if you've got that relationship in general, then you're going to actually naturally come to that within one another, because you've already got that type of energy going, that type of relationship, of understanding, that level of understanding. So you're naturally going to want to come and discuss that and understand, well, what can we do? Because we don't normally, this isn't our ways. We know ourselves to be focusing on the solutions. And if we're coming and we're not quite understanding one another, let's talk. But
well, I want to add something so special to what you said. You need to understand, and I love what you said about, like, hey, if life's good for me and then, like, I'm having you enter my life, you need to understand one thing. Think about your life as a boat, or think about yourself as a cruise ship. When the person's coming on the boat, you need to let them know, hey, this is the direction I'm going in. This is what I'm doing. This is this. This is this. Are you on board with this mission? You need to let them know, but when they come onto your boat, this is what it is. If they don't like it, they can hop on another boat. They can leave. But I think that's the problem, because when people enter each other's boats, they're just jumping in the person's boat.
Yeah, and not checking it
and
out.
Not knowing what they're getting into, instead of saying, like, before I get into this boat, where are we going? What's the direction? Who are you? Because you don't know if this person's going to lead. You don't know where they're going to lead you.
No, you don't. And they could lead you completely up the wrong path. And if the boat's got, you want to know if the boat's got holes in it. You want to know if they can, you know what I mean?
Exactly. You want to know if the boat's got holes in it, right?
Yeah, you want to know.
Because that's the thing too. And I love that, though, because a lot of people, what they're doing is they're pouring into jugs with holes in it.
Yeah.
So when you're pouring into it, the water's still falling out. And even if you use the boat analogy, you're getting into a boat and the person has like a hole, like holes in it, and he's trying to patch them up, or she's trying to patch them up without telling you that there's holes in it. You're midway through the trip, let's say 2 months into your relationship, and now the boat's sinking, and the person's like, yeah, I forgot to tell you there's holes.
Yeah, you're like, you could have told me that at the beginning.
Yeah, like you could have told me that, like, before.
Yes.
You know what I mean? No. And now you're having to help bail them out.
That's why I think you've got to be so aware, Michael, because people will show you what they want you to see to start with. This is what I've realized. A lot of people will come to you and they will bring to you what they want you to, think they want you to hear, what they want you to see. So that's why I think it's important to take your time to understand yourself and understand the person you've met before jumping into things, because I've done it too many times and it just does not work. You don't. They don't tell me about they've never told me about any of the holes. It's just like, it's a sudden thing that I get to understand later, and I've been in the trap of just going, yeah, but I love them and I don't want to leave, and I can sort this out and I can fix the problems and I can cover those holes.
Well,
it doesn't work.
It comes down to that mindset of people thinking that you have to accept them the way they are, and you should, but to some degree. Because there's some things that you might be like, yo, like, I don't fly with that.
Yeah.
But everyone has that attitude of, with love, you should take me as I am. Caveat.
Yeah.
Not really, because again, we all have our standards. We all have what we're willing to tolerate and what we're not willing to tolerate. So if I'm not willing to tolerate yelling, and you're yelling and you're saying, well, if you love me, you should tolerate this yelling.
No.
How about no? I'm doing this. Because I'm not dealing with it.
I'm not.
I'm out.
Out of there. Absolutely, Michael.
Like, obviously, when you meet someone, you're not going to tell them, yeah, I'm a yeller.
Yeah.
But as I watch your behavior, I'm going to see this person likes to get angry. They get triggered. They like to yell. I'm not really about that. I'm going to bring it to their attention and be like, hey, look, I'm not about that. Is there any way that we can work on this? Because I'm not just about quitting relationships and leaving, but if I see that I've brought it to the person's attention and they don't want to work on it, then I'm out.
Yeah.
Clearly, you like being the angry, dysfunctional person.
Or maybe it was one one-off thing, but if you continue to see that, then you just know. It's like, this is the thing. We don't have to stick in these relationships. We just don't.
No one's keeping you there.
Apart from yourself, and we make our own lives miserable. If you are happy before and they come into your life and now you're miserable, understand that do not do that to yourself, because you know you could be happy and get on with it and find the right person. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet. There's someone for everyone. We do not have to settle for people who do not actually want to be with us. If they don't want to be with us, then don't be. If you don't want to be with someone, walk the other way.
Stop trying to convince them and kidnap them.
It doesn't work, because you're actually holding yourself back from the best relationship you could possibly have, because you could stick in that relationship and there's a person there that's been under your nose all this time and you just haven't seen it because you've been so focused on I love this one, I love this
on
one.
Chad chasing.
On that cycle of negativity, dysfunction and not goodness, and then you're holding back this one, and then when you finally decide 10 years down the line, that one's now gone, married, done their thing, they forgot waiting for you. So just don't hold yourself back.
I love that you said that, though, because that's a big thing. Because you see, and again, that's a big thing, because you have a lot of women out here saying, oh, I got options. They hit like a certain age, those options dwindle.
Yes.
Those guys are not going to wait around. They're going to move on. They're going to date other women, and they're going to go off and marry them. And then here you are, alone, no man. Hey, I'm happy. I'm independent. Yeah, you might be. But then as time goes on, you're going to be like, I miss that masculine energy. When you had an opportunity to get it.
Yeah. And if you didn't,
but because you were so like, I have many options. Yeah, you do, but they dwindle as time goes on, because a guy's not going to wait for to be picked. Especially if he's a smart and valuable man, he's like, I'm gonna let all those other guys sit and wait for you to not pick them, when I'm gonna go out there and choose a girl that chooses me. That's why I say choose people to choose you.
In every aspect, not just in every aspect. Yes.
So again, I'm going to share one thing with you guys before we leave. We've kidnapped you for an hour. But again, we very much thank you for spending this time with us. Hopefully you learned something. We're going to share something with you guys. So as I said, on Instagram, if you guys want to follow us, go follow us there. And if you click on the link above, you'll be able to see our link. I'm going to share with you guys our site that you guys can go and follow it. So if you click the link above, it's going to take you to our page that's called Linktree. That's going to allow you to see all of our social media. So you'll be able to follow us wherever you want. You'll be able to follow us on Patreon, which we're starting soon. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. Even Anthea's books are here, her digital books. Everything is here. Our reference studies, our free PDF, even the people that manage our social media. So if you can't find us on YouTube, go follow us on Instagram, click on the link. The YouTube page will take you right to YouTube. So again, thank you very much for taking this morning with us. I will be doing a live on Friday. It'll probably be a short little caveat one. But Anthea will be back with us next Wednesday, and we'll be doing this regularly Wednesday. So I think next Wednesday we can actually talk about what a good man is. And I think that week we'll do what a good man is and what a good girl is.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
You know what? We'll do it Wednesday, we'll do what a good man is, and then on Friday we'll do what a good girl is.
Yeah, excellent. Sounds good to me.
All right.
Excellent.
So
thank you, everybody.
evening, and thank you very much.
See you soon.